homemade nutrient powder for your food storage. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. That's what I'm going to show you today. Not from beginning to end, because I won't be done making the actual powder. But I want to talk about how we're going about it, why we're going about it, and the idea in general. So we all produce, well, those of us that have gardens, you probably produce excess of certain things that you may or may not know what to do with. A lot of things are obvious. You can dehydrate, you can freeze dry. If you have one, you can, you can pickle. There's lots of different options out there. We know that. An idea I have, because a lot of the excess we have are greens, like beet greens, turnip greens, kale, spinach, all those kind of things. What you can do, you can freeze them, but then you're reliant upon power, meaning for your freezers. If you're off-grid and you got an off-grid way to do it, great. But I don't like limiting myself to options that have power. So what I figured out what I'm going to do, and I'll show you in this video, is to harvest a bunch of these greens, dehydrate them, and then basically crush them into a powder, a nutrient-dense powder that will be awesome. And then we can put it in mason jars, put an oxygen absorber in there, seal them, dry can them, something like that, and put them in food storage. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that. This is part of kicking it up a notch. So this right here is mint that we dehydrated the leaves down at 200 degrees in the oven and then just crumpled it up. And that's just finishing up. I'll throw that in a mason jar and we'll use that for herbal tea. This is turnip greens, and we're going to do the same thing with that. What the plan is to dehydrate that and then crumple it up, turn it into a powder, put it in a mason jar, and put the powder from all different kinds of greens and stuff that we can't use as much as we produce from the garden. And it will be this powder-like substance that will just be nutrient packed with all kinds of stuff from different sources from the garden, and we can mix it in stews and soups and stuff like that. This is some more of that turnip greens, those turnip greens that we are dehydrating. So we have quite a few and a lot more to harvest. And we are getting this dehydrator that I haven't used before. We've had it for a while. It's a pretty big, decent sized dehydrator. I have the grates out in the sun, drying from washing them. I'm just running this for a little while, making sure it comes up to temperature, make sure it works great, and we're going to be dehydrating a lot of stuff in that. You can see it's a Cabela's dehydrator. Yeah, the roof of it's a little bit smashed from the outside, but that's just cosmetic from the outside, unfortunately. But it's alright, it works fine. So we're going to be dehydrating a lot using that. If you like the video and all my other content, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up, the like button down there. Share the videos, comment, do all those things. And the little heart with the thanks in the middle of it is a super thanks. If you feel like donating to the channel, want to help us out some, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can hit that, select your amount, and go from there. If not, just, hey, whatever. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really appreciate all you subscribers. I really appreciate everything you guys do, all your awesome comments and stuff like that. Now, obviously, if you guys have noticed the numbers, if you pay attention to the numbers, the subscriber numbers, we've been stuck for, this is day 6 or 7, losing subscribers and or maybe gaining 1 or 2. That's the system at work. Yes, keeping me down, keeping other channels down because they don't like you and they don't like me. So we got to break through this. And we will. We'll keep going. We'll break through it. But we're right about 28,000 subscribers. That's amazing. I'm super proud of that. Super happy. Let's get back to the video. If you guys know what this is, this pain in the butt weed that's growing around here that is all over the place, as you see, that I thought was a huge pain in the butt weed that I used to try to kill any chance I get. Yeah, so turns out part of my learning process is finding out that this is actually Doc. Doc allowed a lot of people to survive the Great Depression. And it was the bane of my weeding existence because it grows everywhere, and it is, due to the taproot, it is so difficult to pull up. But now that I know that it's dock and that it's edible, even though it tastes disgusting, what I'm going to do is just let it grow, as you see. So it is no longer the bane of my existence. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start harvesting these leaves, this dock, and dehydrating it along with all the other stuff I was just talking about dehydrating, turning it into this like fruit, vegetable, just awesome goodness powder that has tons of nutrients in it that we will be able to mix with all kinds of things. You know, in general cooking, baking, whatever it may be. We'll be able to throw that in our foods. We're going to throw it in mason jars and store it for, you know, crap hitting the fan type stuff, of course, for food storage. But this is going to be an awesome idea. So, yeah, follow us along the journey for this. This is going to be fun. But so I'm going to harvest a bunch of this dock, and as you see, it's just a weed. It's an invasive species. Like I was saying, it was the bane of my existence. But it's good. Oh, it's good to find out that it's edible. So yeah, that's always a good part. Yeah, you guys can see Jerusalem artichokes doing really well there. There's another invasive species that is awesome. Grow lots of those things. So these are the turnips that I got the greens from. So as you can see, I still got quite a few. There's still a lot of greens in there I could harvest. And then the beet greens pretty soon are going to be coming up. And there's more beets over there in that part of that bed. They're just not coming up yet. I did have some spinach from in here, and you can see the potatoes, that volunteer potatoes. Here's one thing with the way I garden is I realize, and I think the way I look at it is, if a potato decides to grow there, or whatever it is decides to grow there, well, I don't know. I just look at it as that's God's hand in my garden, and I just let it go. So, since there's lots of potatoes growing in this bed, and I don't remember ever planting potatoes in this bed. Last year, well, let me see. Actually, I think I did get harvest of potatoes. That's what it was. And then I dug them up and planted beans. So the leftover potatoes are coming up. So I figured, well, if they're coming up, that's because God wants it that way. So, and there's a bunch of the herbs I was talking about turning into stuff for peppermint tea. There's spearmint in there also. But yeah, I harvested some of the, you can see the spinach. There's spinach right there, spinach and spinach. That's what's supposed to be in there, spinach and kale. And so far I've been really sick lately, and also not on top of my game, so the bugs are really eating up my kale so far. I haven't been an attentive gardener yet this year because just our life and what's been going on, getting really sick and stuff. So yeah, anyway, I could be doing kale also. That may be one of those things that it'll be pretty soon coming along. Here's some of the finished product that we got done dehydrating. This jar is green onions from the garden, and this is our current use out of jar. Once it gets full, then we'll sit in the pantry for storage. Throw an oxygen absorber in there, whatever. This is garlic greens. We love using those. Use a lot of those. And this is the peppermint that I was just showing you guys in the oven. And that's how much peppermint we got out of it. So that's quite a bit of tea. That's loose leaf tea. You put in those little mesh balls and put in some hot water, boil it, make yourself some really awesome homemade peppermint tea. Very good for lots of different things. So it's just part of the process. It is really fun doing this and producing, making our own stuff, natural, the way God intended it. All right, so here we got the dehydrator. We got a thing of dock right there ready to go in, and our turnip greens. So basically I'm just going to open up, I'll reset the timer and stuff like that, and I'm just going to take greens off, and I'm just going to toss them up there on the shelves and dehydrate them, and then we'll turn them into that powder. Pretty simple. All the turnip greens are in the dehydrator. We'll see how it works. I haven't done it in a dehydrator yet. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it gives you a good idea of a way you can go about preserving your excess, in this example, greens, or whatever else you can do this with. You can do this with a lot of different things. So we'll be experimenting over this harvest season with what all we can do and how we can go about doing it. And I'm going to start jarring up these cans of, or jars of nutrient powder that'll be really good. I mean, all it's going to be fruits, vegetables, whatever I can come up with. Mostly probably just greens. But there's a lot of good nutrients in there. I don't want it to go to waste. That, you know, if I had animals to feed it to, I could use it for that. I could also always throw it in my compost pile, but that's not the best use of it, right? I can cut my grass and throw it in there for that. So I want to make the best use and not let more than I absolutely have to go to waste. I want to make the best use of it. So that's the idea behind this. And this powder would just be, I mean, it'd be all kinds of just good stuff. And the plan is, like I talked about earlier in the video, you know, you can put in casseroles, you can put it in soups, you can put it in stews, you can make stock out of it. There's a lot of different things that we'll be experimenting with and that we'll be including this powder in for our use, testing it out, seeing, you know, hey, does it taste good and stuff? Does it not taste good and stuff? If it doesn't taste as good, like if we include more dock that's really bitter, well, then maybe we need to add some sweetener to it. Maybe we need to include it with something that we bake with honey, or add more seasoning to it or something like that to make it taste better. It's all an experiment, but I think it's going to be a really good way to make use of excess that would otherwise go to waste. Waste not, want not. Waste not, want not. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys, you know, try things like this out yourself. You learn by doing. I learn by doing. So we're going to see how the process works, how well it comes out, and I think it's a cool idea. So yeah, stay tuned. Future videos, we'll be covering more of it, showing you more, showing you how well it works, doesn't work, what we learned along the way, and how we improved upon the recipe, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.